All right, appreciate y'all being here today. Obviously, coming off a win this past weekend against a team that I have a lot of respect for, and Coach Viator at ULM. Good offense that our guys did a really good job of getting prepared, and for their quarterback and their running back, and guys that really make plays for them. And so, very proud of our defense, proud of our offense to go out there and do what they did, especially in that fourth quarter, to put that long drive together and get that touchdown there at the end, to basically put the game away. And now it's time to move on. Obviously, yesterday we reset 0-0, trying to go 1-0, and another team that I have a lot of respect for in Arkansas State, and Coach Anderson and the job that they do there. So, looking forward to going on the road and looking forward to this challenge.
Coach, you're able to look at some of the film now after speaking to us on Saturday. What stood out about the offense and defense, really all sides of the ball, that made you so effective? Because I know a lot of people could see y'all winning that game, but to put up 50 points and to put forth that defensive effort against one of the Sun Belt's better quarterbacks.
After watching the film, our guys were just really into it. They were into the game. They were into, trying to respond from the previous week. We had challenged them to be player-led, and we're always trying to grow leaders on our football team, but they did a tremendous job all week of leading each other, and then getting in the game, just seeing their mentality on both offense, defense, and even in special teams of, just in attack mode. We talked about being on our toes and not on our heels, and I thought that's what we did from the start. Obviously we took the ball first, and we were trying to do that just to prove a point that we wanted to go attack. We went 3 and out, ended up punting, and then ULM came back, and defense was able to get that turnover, and then we were able to put it in the end zone after that. And and that gave our guys a lot of confidence, and they stayed on the attack mode the rest of the game. And just watching the film, that I felt that in the game, but just watching the film, you could really see that from our guys.
Coach, I know it's been kind of a running joke about your team's ability to keep running into bad weather but playing well in it. At a certain point, do you think that there gets to be a little bit of an advantage, especially when you play some teams that might not have had some bad weather games, and you guys have gone through everything about being able to just focus on executing the plays and not worrying about how cold it is, how wet it is out there?
I do think it matters because we've had success in it. So when we see it, it's not something like, oh man, we got to play in this. It's actually the opposite. Now it's, oh good, we get to play in this. And our guys have a really good mindset about that. But you can talk about the weather, but it's really about our guys going, hey, we know what we are. We know what type of football team we are. Early on in the year, we really were searching for an identity. And now we've gotten one, and they know how to play off of each other now, and that matters. So, again, they've been through adverse situations with weather, and they know how to handle that. So I think that it is to our advantage if another team has not done that. So, hats off for our guys for doing it again.
Coach, we've talked about being able to finish games. This game, you guys were able to secure it pretty early and get a big win under your guys' belt. So how good was that for the team, and how might that have set the tone for the rest of the season?
Anytime that we can finish a ball game, that's one of our parts of our plan to win. I would have liked to have been a little bit better in the third quarter, maybe going ahead and pulling away a little bit further. But we didn't. But when we got into the fourth quarter, we were able to win the fourth quarter 20-15. There's still things that we got to clean up. I would have not liked to not have given up those 15 points. But again, ULM's got a really good offense. And that's just part of it. But for us to be able to finish that ball game and that be a part of our plan to win, that always gives our guys confidence. And, going into the next game, that just allows us to go, hey, this is another chance that we did this, and now we have another chance to try to go finish out another one.
Coach, looking at this Arkansas State team, they've got Omar Bayless, who was named a Blitnikoff semifinalist today. What pops off film about him and his abilities, and what makes him so special?
Oh, man, he's dynamic, and he's a guy, once he gets the ball in his hands, he can do a lot of things with it. He can make big catches when in those crucial situations also. So that's a big-time challenge for us, and it's something that our DBs have really got to be mindful of. And the other thing that I'll say about that is he's a really good football player, and we got to be mindful of him. But they also have good players at other positions too, which then makes it even harder to take care of a guy like that, because now you got to be mindful of the other guys out there. But again, we'll challenge our guys this week and say, hey, here's the challenge. Let's see if we can step up and take care of business.
Coach, just break down the key players on the offense for Arkansas State and defense for us real quick, and what you expect to be the challenges you'll face and how to overcome those.
Well, on offense, they're an RPO gap scheme team, maybe similar to Minnesota, but probably a little bit more gap scheme oriented. Their skill positions are dynamic players. They got a really good running back in the Murray kid that's Doak Walker guy nominee, and then obviously the Bayless kid and the Merritt kid. And I'm really impressed with their quarterback. He really manages their offense and does a good job, running what they do and not making mistakes and being very efficient. So, and when you start looking at their whole football team, I mean, you've got a lot of first team, second team, all conference players preseason. So, they definitely have the talent, and so it'll definitely be a test for us. Defensively for them, they started out the year as a four-man front. I think due to some injuries, they've went to more of a three-man odd front stuff, and they've kind of changed their personnel around with that. In my opinion, Arkansas State's a lot like us. They had some adversity, had some injuries, but they found a way to, start playing well. And, so both offense and defense, we've got to be very mindful of their guys and who their guys are, and be ready to attack where we need to attack.
Coach, you just talked about the injuries both for your team and for Arkansas State. For both of you guys to be doing what you're doing, having to replace guys, having to sometimes change up schemes, what do you think that says about the health and the depth of this league, that you're not only able to do that, but you're winning games and you're both bowl-eligible teams at this point?
Well, I think gone are the days where you can just show up and win. I don't think that's the case. And I think in the Sun Belt, every time you play a football game, you better be ready to go, because this is Division I football, and there's Division I athletes on there. In the Sun Belt, in the Group of Five, sometimes when you have injuries, depth can become an issue. The thing that I'm proud about with our guys is, if our starters go down, our backups, they believe they can go in there and do the job. And a lot of that's the next man up mentality that we've preached on and on and on, throughout the year. And that's part of being a Georgia Southern man. And, and there's no doubt in my mind that Arkansas State's the exact same way. Their culture's great. They've built a great program. And so those guys believe when they get in there, they can take care of business.
Coach, this was a dramatic game last year. Kennedy's end around to win late. Kind of the first signature win for you. Was this victory over them last year kind of a turning point in your guys' belief and confidence they could get this thing back going?
I do think last year getting that game was very important to our season and to what the rest of the season ended up being, because it did show that we belonged. They were preseason favorites, and for us to be able to get that win was very important for last season. But I look at it that way again this year. I mean, Arkansas State's always up there in the running, and if you look at it, they're 4-2 in the conference, and they're battling for the West title out there. So it's the exact same thing. This is a big game for us, and but now we got to go to their place and try to do it. So our guys will be up for the challenge. We just got to work hard this week and go do what we do. Thank y'all. GATA.